God bless everyone. Today I will share the incredible testimony of Joshua, a man who journeyed to the fiery depths of hell and witnessed something unimaginable: Martin Luther King Jr. standing among the condemned. Joshua's story is not just about the shocking sight he encountered, but a powerful revelation of hidden sins, divine justice, and the unyielding grace of Jesus Christ. What he saw and experienced will challenge everything you think you know about redemption and eternity. Now, I will read his letter exactly as he wrote it, uncovering the sin that led him there and the profound reason why the person he saw is in that place. Stay with me. This is a testimony that will touch your soul. My name is Joshua, and I'm a 52-year-old retired teacher from Atlanta, Georgia. I've always thought of myself as an ordinary man with a simple yet fulfilling life. I live in a cozy home with my wife and our beautiful daughter, surrounded by the love and warmth that comes with family. My days were filled with routines I cherished: morning coffee, conversations with my wife, and spending evenings reflecting on life's small joys. For most of my life, I found comfort in the predictable rhythm of each day. As a teacher, I dedicated my time to shaping young minds, and when I retired, I felt a deep sense of accomplishment knowing I had played a role in their futures. My life was steady, grounded, and seemingly unshakable. But looking back now, I see how little I understood the fragility of that stability. Never in my wildest thoughts could I have foreseen the profound spiritual journey that was about to unfold. It wasn't something I sought or even imagined. It came crashing into my life without warning, shattering the comfort of the ordinary and plunging me into a reality far beyond what I could comprehend. What I experienced didn't just change me. It tore down everything I thought I knew about life, sin, and faith. And yet, as I stand here to tell you my story, I can't help but feel the weight of the truth I must share. What happened next revealed a darkness I wasn't prepared for, and a figure I never expected to see. That morning began like any other. I woke up early, the soft hum of the world just beginning to stir outside. The familiar scent of fresh coffee filled the kitchen as I prepared for the day ahead, savoring those quiet moments before the rush. My wife smiled as she kissed me goodbye, and I felt the usual warmth that came with the simplicity of our lives. At school, I stood before my students, guiding them through lessons, watching their faces light up with understanding. During lunch, I laughed with my colleagues, sharing stories about the little quirks of life that make each day meaningful. Everything felt normal, perfectly ordinary, like countless mornings before it. Never did it cross my mind that this day would end unlike any other, and that life as I knew it was about to shatter. It began with a small discomfort in my chest, barely noticeable at first, just a faint pressure. But within moments, that pressure grew into an unbearable pain, sharp and relentless. My breath became shallow and the room started to blur. I tried to steady myself, but my legs refused to move, and before I knew it, I was on the ground. The voices of my colleagues echoed around me, frantic and urgent, but they seemed to drift farther and farther away, as if I were being pulled out of the world I knew. The edges of my vision darkened, and I felt myself slipping into a strange stillness. There was no panic, just an unsettling calm, like I was standing at the edge of something vast and unknown, ready to fall. Then it happened. As my eyes closed, I felt a force pulling me, not my body, but something deeper. It was as if I was leaving everything behind, floating into a tunnel of complete darkness. This was no ordinary darkness. It was alive, wrapping around me like a heavy shroud. There was no sense of time, no sense of space, only the pull of something immense and inescapable. Strangely, I wasn't afraid. A part of me felt at peace, yet another part trembled with a fear I couldn't explain. I didn't know where I was going or what awaited me, but I sensed I was about to cross into a realm beyond anything I could comprehend. And as the tunnel seemed to stretch endlessly ahead, I couldn't have imagined what I would see when it finally ended. The tunnel ended abruptly, and before me stretched a sight so overwhelming, so horrific, that words alone cannot capture its depth. A vast, fiery lake churned like molten lava, its surface alive with the anguished cries of burning souls. Black smoke spiraled upward, but it wasn't just smoke. It carried with it the echoes of despair, the tortured wails of those trapped within the flames. The air was thick, suffocating, laced with the acrid scent of charred flesh and an overwhelming sense of sorrow. It wasn't just the physical pain that consumed these souls. It was something far worse, a torment that seemed to seep into the very core of their existence. My heart pounded as I took in the horrifying scene, and the weight of their agony pressed down on me. This wasn't just a place, it was an embodiment of eternal regret, and it chilled me to the bone. As I moved further, the fire gave way to a darker, even more oppressive space. It was the outer darkness, a void so complete it seemed to consume everything, even hope itself. There was no light, no warmth, just a cold, hollow emptiness. In the silence, faint whispers echoed, but I could see no one. These were the whispers of souls, trapped in their own isolation, their cries absorbed by the void without ever being heard. I felt the sting of their loneliness, a pain sharper than any physical wound. It was as if the very fabric of their existence had been unraveled, leaving nothing but profound despair. The weight of this desolation settled on my shoulders, and for the first time, I understood what it meant to be utterly cut off from God. Then, in the midst of the darkness, I saw him. At first, I thought my eyes were deceiving me, but as I stepped closer, there was no mistaking the figure before me. It was Martin Luther King Jr., the man whose voice had inspired generations, whose name was synonymous with justice, peace, and equality. Yet here he stood, not as the revered leader I had always envisioned, but as a broken figure, his shoulders slumped, his gaze fixed on the void. The crowd around him was silent, watching him without admiration, without reverence. My heart ached as disbelief and confusion swept over me. How could a man so celebrated, so revered, be here, in this place of eternal torment? My soul cracked under the weight of the contradiction, unable to reconcile the image of the inspiring leader with the reality of the condemned soul before me. Before I could process the sight, a voice pierced through my thoughts, a telepathic whisper that revealed the truth I had never known. "Are you surprised to see him here?" the voice asked, heavy with a chilling certainty. It began to show me fragments of King's life hidden behind the public image I had admired. I saw his struggles, his inner turmoil, and his secret associations with the Freemasons. The man who preached equality and justice had lived a double life, his actions often contradicting his words. I watched as scenes of secret meetings unfolded, his involvement with powerful figures manipulating the world from behind the scenes. Even his personal choices, his weaknesses, and his indulgence in hidden sins came to light. Each revelation was like a blow to my soul, shattering the pedestal on which I had placed him. And yet the voice wasn't done. There were deeper truths to uncover, darker secrets to reveal, and I couldn't help but feel that what I had seen so far was just the beginning. As I descended deeper into this place, it became clear that hell was not a single realm, but a labyrinth of torment, each layer revealing the harrowing consequences of human sin. With every step, the air grew heavier, pressing down on my chest like an invisible weight. The first layer I encountered was filled with souls consumed by insatiable hunger and greed. They clawed desperately at the ground, their hands passing through illusions of food and wealth that disintegrated into ash the moment they touched it. Their faces were twisted in agony, their cries echoing with the pain of eternal dissatisfaction. Further on, I came across a pit of souls tormented by envy, their bodies writhing as they were forced to witness the blessings of others, forever out of reach. Each scene was a reflection of earthly vices, magnified to an unbearable degree, and with every step I took, the cries of the damned clawed at my mind, threatening to consume my sanity. The deeper I went, the more the darkness seemed alive, as if it were watching me, waiting for me to falter. The air was thick with a suffocating heat, yet it offered no light to guide my way. Shadows danced around me, and I could feel the presence of entities lurking just beyond sight. Their forms were indistinct, but their malice was palpable, a chilling, predatory force that seemed to seep into my very soul. The ground beneath me was uneven, shifting like sand under my feet, as if the realm itself was trying to trap me. The silence was oppressive, broken only by distant wails that rose and fell like a macabre symphony of despair. I could sense that the deeper I went, the greater the horrors I would face. Yet, something pulled me forward, a force I couldn't resist, urging me to uncover what lay at the heart of this abyss. I knew I hadn't reached the end of this descent, and with every step, I braced myself for what awaited in the darkness ahead. As I ventured deeper into the suffocating darkness, a chilling presence emerged, filling the air with an oppressive weight that pressed down on my soul. I froze as glowing, fiery eyes pierced through the shadows, locking onto me with a gaze that seemed to strip away every layer of my being. It was the devil, his form shapeless yet terrifying, a manifestation of malice and despair. His voice, cold and echoing, sliced through the silence. "You're no different from them, Joshua," he hissed, each word dripping with venom. "Your heart is riddled with sin. Your lies, your selfishness, the darkness you've tried to hide." His accusations struck me like a hammer, forcing me to confront truths I had long buried. My knees buckled as shame and guilt surged through me, each word he spoke unraveling the illusions I had crafted about myself. I wanted to protest, to defend myself, but the weight of my sins silenced me. "You've already chosen your fate," he sneered. "You'll burn here forever, just like the rest." In that moment, as the devil's condemnation closed in around me, a faint light appeared in the distance. At first, it was barely noticeable, but it grew steadily, cutting through the darkness like a beacon of hope. The devil recoiled, his eyes narrowing with rage as the light intensified, pushing back the shadows that had enveloped me. And then I saw him. Emerging from the brilliance was Jesus, his presence radiating an indescribable love and compassion that washed over me like a wave. His eyes, filled with understanding, met mine, and in that instant, I felt seen, not as the sinner the devil condemned, but as a soul worthy of redemption. Jesus reached out and placed his hand gently on my head. "Your repentance saves you," he said, his voice tender yet powerful. "Every person makes mistakes, but God forgives those who turn to him with a sincere heart." The devil's form dissolved into the void, powerless against the light, as an overwhelming peace filled me. For the first time, I felt truly free. When I opened my eyes, I was no longer in the depths of hell, but back in my body, lying in my bed. The air felt different, cleaner, lighter, as if I had been given a second chance to breathe. My heart was no longer burdened by guilt, but filled with a profound sense of gratitude and purpose. The memories of what I had seen and experienced remained vivid, but they no longer held the same fear. Instead, they served as a reminder of God's infinite mercy. I knew I had been spared not for my own sake, but to carry this testimony forward, to share the power of repentance and the boundless grace of Jesus Christ. My soul felt renewed, my spirit alive in a way it had never been before. But even as I relished this new beginning, I couldn't shake the weight of what I had seen, the revelations, the truths that needed to be told. I knew my journey wasn't over, and what lay ahead would challenge everything I thought I understood about faith, forgiveness, and the ultimate plan of God. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this incredible testimony. What do you think about Joshua's experience and the powerful lessons it reveals? Do you believe in second chances and the transformative power of faith? Share your opinions, reflections, or any questions you have in the comments below. I'm eager to read your perspectives and continue this meaningful conversation with you.